This is Brandon Barnum, CEO of HOA.com, and I'm so excited to be joining Beate and Chelette in the Business Growth Architect Show. And in this episode, you're not only going to learn how to attract more raving referrals from your clients and customers, but also how to create profitable partnerships and be a true community and charity champion. So make sure you listen to the episode. We'll see you on the other side.
Welcome to the Business Growth Architect Show. I am Beate Chelette. I am the host. I want to welcome you to our globally top 10% ranked podcast, where you will hear from industry experts about the strategies that are working right now to unlock hidden opportunities in any market so that you can grow your authority and scale your impact. And now let's get started with the show.
Hello and welcome back. This is your host, Beate Chelette, and today we're talking to an old friend. We're talking to somebody I've known forever, Brandon Barnum. Brandon, I'm excited to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. You're right. You know, it's been 15 years since we met.
15 years, yeah. So why don't you tell a little bit about yourself and maybe the backstory, and we'll bring everybody up to speed, and then we dive right in. And our topic today is really kind of your specialty, and that is utilizing referrals for growing your business. But as always, you have a very different spin to it. So let's start with your introduction.
Okay, sure. So I'm Brandon Barnum. I'm the CEO of HOA.com, as you can see on screen. And really my purpose for being is to uplift, inspire, and empower every person on the planet. And that's how you and I met back in 2008 when I was the president of Humanity Unites Brilliance. That was a personal development company where we donated 40% of gross revenue to charities that were making a difference all over the world. And that was just a joy and a pleasure to be in that. And obviously, as you know, one of the things I'm passionate about is helping all business owners and professionals become a charity champion and really share whatever they're passionate about with their clients, customers, and community.
So one of the things that really strikes me about you is when we combine success and spirituality or conscious mindsets, the more you surrender, the more you give, the more you get. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? Because I think it's a very difficult concept for most people, because most people have the concept, the more I do, the more I get. Help me understand.
Yeah, well, you know, it's be, do, have. And so it's all about the being. The beingness is your vibration. It's your energy, that spiritual connection. However you view that, whatever your experience is, what I find is that when I'm connected to Source, to God, however you describe that undeniable connection with the universe, the more I focus on the betterment of everyone that I come in contact with, and even those people that I don't, that's when the magic really flows. And so what I find as an executive and just entrepreneur is staying in that connection as often as possible really takes the work out of it, and it really just allows you to play and focus on what it is that you're here to do and contribute to the world.
Why is that such a difficult concept for so many people?
I think we're so used to control, especially the alpha males, and I know a lot of alpha females as well.
Are you looking at me? Are you looking He's looking at me, definitely. Yes, yes.
Sometimes it's hard to just give up control and go with the flow, right? And it's what I find is the real magic in life is being super intentional about what you want to create, experience, manifest. And the more that you focus on that, the faster that it just comes to you. And it's amazing, and miracles happen all the time. And, you know, I can think about somebody and they'll call me up. Now, my question, and I'd love your feedback on this, is I often ask, am I the receiver or the transmitter, right? I'm always curious about, was I the one that instituted the thought that got them to call me, or did I receive their intention as they were calling me, and so therefore I thought about them? Fascinating stuff. What do you think?
I actually think it's because energy is, to me, a circular motion. So I don't think it has a beginning or an end like the infinity sign. I don't think it matters, nor do I think, I think it's two people that are catching the energy somewhere. But on whether that's a little bit further over on the yin or the yang, I don't think matters much. I think it's in my opinion, and I was looking at a book that Cindy Dale wrote about the subtle body and how she describes the spinning, 10th chakra as the silver disc that's always in vibration and motion. So if something is vibration and motion, there is no beginning or an end. There's no beginning of the transition. What's the difference between the receiving or the transmitting of it? I think it's the same vibration. That would be my answer.
Well, and it's a good point. It doesn't really matter, does it? As long as you're in that experience. I'm always just curious because I'm thinking to myself, am I really able to attract somebody to call me? I believe the answer is yes. And I think the inverse is true, where I'll receive somebody else's vibration that they're calling me in to a conversation with them. So I think you're right. I think both are true.
Yes, I think that the vibrational energy is either picked up by you or by them, and whoever picks it up sooner or later. But inevitably, then you are absolutely, and they go, oh my God, I just was thinking about you, or literally have the phone in my hand about to dial your name. So the idea now, in the work that you've done, and you've been very, very successful in multiple businesses, you have this ability to connect people and to connect with people. And when we were talking about this show, the thing that I wanted to really have you talk about is, how do you get the buy-in that people are doing the work for you? It's almost like the term referral for you isn't even the right term. You know what I mean? Like, I feel almost like, I almost feel like I want to change that word for you, because you're more than that, because referral kind of feels very salesman-ish. But for you, it's a different thing. So talk to us about this concept of referring, helping other people help you to grow your business based on your relationship with them.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I don't ever look at or come from that place energetically of selling. It's really about serving. And when you stay in that space of serving, you're not trying to influence or manipulate someone into an outcome other than what's the highest and best for all, right? It's how can I serve them? And that's true of referrals. When you think about it, we refer someone because we're trying to help them solve their challenge, get a better life, get a better outcome for their life. And so it's really from a place of giver's gain, as you hear sort of Ivan Meisner and others talk about that strategy. But what I've found is a key to my success is really partnering. It's aligning with others that are after the same outcome and saying 1 + 1 = 11. So how do we come together and expand our collective leverage and our impact by uniting forces and really focusing on serving?
The concept itself is simple enough and noble. Now I'm talking to somebody, say, oh, yeah, sure, sounds great. And that is where it ends. Affiliate, referral, partnerships, joint ventures, but most people don't step up to the plate. So how do you get people to love you so much and want to work with you and want to tell other people how great you are? No, I mean, I need to know this.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, it really is everything we've been talking about. It is that energetic vibration. I'll tell you, I was on with a partner manager today from a national real estate company here in the U.S. And I won't disclose who it is, but we are creating a partnership. And literally, this was our second conversation. And they just agreed to promote us to every realtor in their company, which was my desired outcome. I had the vision and the intention going into that meeting that we would add so much value to their entire organization that they would be thrilled to invite us out and actually host a webinar and promote us to every single agent within their company. So number one, it starts with your intention. And then also it starts with a design. You've got to have a plan of action. And this is one of the biggest gaps that I see, is that a lot of people go to networking events and they go have coffee or lunch or a glass of wine and they have a great conversation, but there's no plan of action. And you have to have that vision, that plan. We teach the referral partner blueprint so you can actually sit down with somebody and explore different ways that you can collaborate, cross-promote, and cross-refer each other so that you're building your business together, because that's one of the biggest gaps. People walk out of those meetings all the time. They have a great conversation, and then there's no action. You've got to have a plan of action.
Talk to us about this referral blueprint, because now I am even more curious.
Cool. Look, that's the short version. Quite frankly, I created this because not everybody's going to read my whole Raving Referrals book, right? So I said, okay, if we could create the Cliff Notes version, what's the most important piece? And that's the referral partner blueprint. It all starts by, number one, understanding who your audience is. Okay, some people serve homeowners like we do at HOA.com. Other people serve business owners, but you've got a primary prospect that you're serving with your business. And what you want to do is really identify who else is already in relationship, who has already won the trust of the client that you're looking to win. And then how can you add value to those people? How can you add so much value that they're thrilled to introduce you and promote you to everyone that they know? And some people incentivize others through an affiliate program. We call it referral rewards, is how we teach it. And that's a great way to reward your partners. But sometimes the reward is just providing the best quality service or product your customers can receive.
The blueprint then is much simpler than I thought, is making sure that our beehive completely understands it. Is the objective in going into something is to, number one, really have a clean, clear mindset and an intention clarified. So if I am in the business of helping other people, I know that this audience that I'm going after also has other people that are going after them. So you're saying I need to find a non-competitive or a natural vertical expansion to that. How do you go about finding that?
Yeah, I call it complementary, right? Complementary services. When you think about your business, there's your clients and customers come to you because you solve some sort of challenge for them. You make their life better in some way. And when you think about it, there are other business owners and business professionals that have clients that are coming to them and they're mentioning the challenge that you solve. So you actually want to position your business so you are the solution to other people's clients' challenges. And then they have no choice but to promote you as long as you're a good quality person doing a good job, right? Providing a great service. But that's part of the start, is thinking strategically about who is already serving your perfect prospects every day. So that's my whole philosophy in life. The more you give, the more you receive. And it's not always financial, by the way. Sometimes you just get more through enjoyment and satisfaction and introductions and experiences. So it's not always about the money. The money is just a reflection, a measurement of the value that we add to the world. And when we shift our mind and really focus on the impact over the income, that's when amazing things really start to show up for you.
I love this concept. How do I actually have this conversation with them? Because I'm like just going to randomly pick up the phone and, let's say, as a business consultant, call the president of the entrepreneur organization, Vistage, and YPO, and we're just going to say, hey, I'm a business consultant. You are providing services for these people. Can you bring me in, or can we do something together? Because they get these calls 50 times a day.
100 times a day. Yeah, I don't recommend that you cold call anyone ever. That's just my personal philosophy, right? I would much rather go to somebody that's already in that organization, or maybe there's an event that's happening and it's being sponsored by that organization. If that's the case, I teach network strategically, right? You don't want to go to a networking event and blindly stumble around trying to meet people. Have a clear intention and a plan of action before you go to any networking event ever, and introduce yourself to the event host. Help them understand who it is that you're looking to connect with, because it's their job and, quite frankly, their joy to connect great people together. That's what that event or that organization exists for. So what I recommend is, if you're looking to expand your partnerships, number one, start with people that you already know, like, and trust. In our experience, there's only 2% of, we've surveyed thousands of people, and only 2% of people have 10 or more referral partnerships. Now, what's interesting is those that do, on average, earn over $250,000 a year. So they're experiencing success because they have lots of business coming to them. So what if you approach people that maybe you already have a relationship, but you've just never formalized a referral partnership. And you reached out to them and said, you know what, John, Jane, the reason that I wanted to connect with you today is I've realized I have a lot of clients that could use your help. So I'd like to sit down with you and just talk through what you do, learn more about you, and see if there's a way that we can work together and grow our businesses together so that we can help more people, make more money, and have more fun. How's that sound to you?
Sounds amazing to me. And we will be right back after this quick message.
Are you looking for the hidden opportunities for you in this market? Or are you simply wanting to figure out what is your unique differentiation factor that makes clients want to work with you and not your competitors? If this resonates, I want to invite you to go to uncoverysession.com and schedule your 15-minute complimentary uncovery session with one of our business growth advisors that will take you through what your number one business growth blocker is, what you can do to remove it, and what your very best next step should be. And now let's get back to the show.
Brandon, you just gave us a really great script on how to look at a value proposition to present to a potential referral partner. Now, what often happens is when I go to referral partners, they have bad experiences with previous people who made promises and then completely lied about it, didn't deliver. A whole bunch of stuff has happened. So they have a story in their head. They have a bias against people like me. How do I overcome that? How do I rewrite that story? And let's just stay with this example of a business consultant going to one of the big entrepreneur organizations that help entrepreneurs because they get so many of these, they're deaf to it. And the first thing that they do when you show up is they put their hand on, it's like, well, we'll be happy to partner up, but that's going to cost you $20,000 to reach our audience. But that's not a referral partnership. That's buying access. How do you get around that?
Well, I would ask you, is that really where you want to be fishing, right? If we take a look at the lens of fishing, is that the lake that you want to be fishing in? Or does it make more sense where you want to be the only person that is fishing in that stream or that lake? I think that when you talk about these larger organizations, you're absolutely right. If it's a networking organization or if it's an entrepreneurial organization, you're going to have a lot of coaches and consultants that are going to that event looking to attract new clients. Okay. So it's kind of a crowded room. And I always like to be the brightest light in the party.
So you already are. You already are.
Wow, come on, you're so sweet. But sometimes that means fishing in a whole new area, right? Going to a new place. And let's take CPAs, for example. If you think about your client base, think about who is already serving business owners in this case. You've got CPAs, you've got financial advisors. Both are in a fiduciary advisor capacity. Both of those people, attorneys, accountants, we talked about accountants, they have people coming to them seeking advice and counsel. So they are in a trusted position, right? Those are the types of people that you want to go to because business owners and typically very successful business owners are approaching them and relying on their counsel. So how do you have that conversation? Well, one thing you can do is go to either your existing client base or even your network and say, hey, I'm looking for a great CPA. I'm looking for a great business attorney that I can recommend my clients to. And I'm going to interview 2 or 3 of them. And if you've got somebody that's like an 8 or 9 or 10 out of 10, then I'd love to sit down with them and see about referring clients to them, right? Because you're going to need a great attorney, CPA, internet marketing consultant, whatever that B2B service is. Now you're getting an introduction from somebody that is already in a trusted relationship with that person. They're already a trusted advisor. So that's how I recommend you flip the script is, you can go and attend those types of networking events and hope to stumble on a client, and you may meet somebody there. Always go and meet the event host, number one. Be really specific and strategic about who you're looking to meet. And the more clearly you can communicate your perfect prospect, the easier it is for them to think of somebody and then make that powerful introduction for you.
Yes, I want to tag on to that a little bit. So what I have found works is the classic pitch to, these big organizations, as you said, is doomed to fail for exactly the reasons that you have talked about. Because a lot of their members and a lot of the people that are the executive team or on the board, who are all volunteers and also entrepreneurs, are used to a certain caliber of person. And so unless they have experience with you or seen you in action, there's very little opportunity for them not to put the hand out and say, we want you to sponsor an event, and then we'll put you in front of the people. But then when you do that, and another marketer comes to mind, she used to do this all the time. She sponsored every event. She sponsored, the National Association of Women Business Owners. She sponsored the Women Enterprise Business Council, which is the certification agency for minority-owned women-owned businesses. She sponsored the Entrepreneur Organization. And there was a time where I saw literally 5 times do the same talk within a 3-day period because I was at all of these events. And what really struck me is how predictable and boring that is for the audience. Because the audience is so sophisticated by now that they know this person is paying to be there, especially when they run to the back of the room with their assistant and, with the flyers and the pens and the credit card machines. Nobody does that anymore. I mean, it may work in certain settings, but it certainly doesn't work like it worked 15 years ago. So in order for you to be successful now, you need to have a different backdoor strategy. What I find works, and I volunteer for one of these organizations, the entrepreneur organizations, as a coach, and I've been doing it for years. And I do that, number one, for the principle of giving back that you talked about, and the giving with no expectation in return. But what's happened is because I've been doing this for years, and I've helped a lot of people actually become full paying member, because I helped them with my coaching and consulting to get them over at the $1 million mark and into the organization. I now have a reputation and people talk. That is exactly what you're talking about. It is me giving first and freely, hopefully with no expectation of return, which I'm sometimes honestly still working on, because you do want to see a return, obviously, but you understand the principle. So sometimes, honestly, I wrestle a little bit with that. Do you wrestle with that sometimes? Or are you done with the wrestling? You have unwrestled yourself from all of that.
Yeah, I don't feel like I wrestle with that very much anymore. From time to time, I'm sure it shows up. And every time it does, I kind of snap back and go, that's not who I am, right? I'm committed to being more than that and to being that just generous giver all the time. And I'm known for that, just like you mentioned about yourself. And I think that's such a great example, because as you showed up as help in that organization and you really focus on the people and delivering the most value you could, you became famous in that community for that, is what I'm hearing you say. Is that right? And that's what happens all the time. And you got to play the long game, right? And the long game is that, number one, you give freely, you build a reputation, and you build relational equity with people so that everybody talks about you. And I hear this from people all the time. They're like, wow, I hear about you all the time. And that's exactly what we want people to say about us. But that comes through investing in relationships over time.
It is such a simple concept, and it feels contradictory. And at the same time, it doesn't feel contradictory. You've been around some of the best spiritual teachers, business teachers, because I know the rooms that you've been in. And so you arrived at, there's a business, but there has to be a spiritual component to it. What would you say to our listeners that say, how do I start? How do I start to get myself out of I gotta be on from 7 a.m. to 10 o'clock at night. My family is prohibiting me from working more. I got to push it so I can come out on the other side. How can we help them to stop, surrender, and flip the script?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'll tell you what happened for me. For me, it was through a mentor. My mentor was Mark Victor Hansen, who I know you met back in our hub days. And I had hired him to come speak for a charity fundraising event back in 2004. I was 34 years old at the time, and I just knew that he was the right guy to come speak for this charity. And so I paid his speaker fee myself through my company. And what was amazing is he spoke twice. We raised enough money to donate $1.2 million in medical supplies and really medical supplies and devices. What was so cool, though, is that Mark challenged the audience to write 101 goals. And so the following week, I went to Hawaii with my wife, and I spent time on the beach just asking, okay, Lord, what am I here for? Right? And I spent time in solitude getting clear on who I wanted to be and what I wanted my life to stand for. So a lot of people need to take time to really do that introspective work and get clear on it exactly what the life that you want to live. I call it life by design, where most people, let's rephrase that, a lot of people live life by default, and they're not aware of the words that they use, and our words create our worlds. So I'd say first and foremost, get crystal clear on everything that you want. Have a vision in your mind for your perfect clients that you're looking to attract. Write them down and then describe them to people. And then one of the things that I teach people is the art of the ask. Because one of the biggest challenges that I find when it comes to referrals is that people are afraid to ask for referrals because they've never been trained, they don't know how, and they don't want to make their clients feel uncomfortable.
Let's talk about, how do I ask for something without feeling like a jerk?
You bet. Well, there's 3 steps, and it's super simple. Number 1, you want to set the stage. Number 2, you want to listen for the referral triggers. And then number 3, when it's time, you're going to ASK to GET. But it all starts with setting the stage. And we talked about the mindset earlier. Don't think about selling, think about serving. And when you've got a new client or even an existing client, you want to just let them know that you get most of your business by referrals. I always say, ask them if they will do you a favor. You know, would you be willing to do me a favor? They'll either say yes or maybe tell me more, right? Then what you'd follow up with is, I get most of my business by referral, and I'm so passionate about helping people like you get this kind of result. And you focus on them and the result that you're going to deliver for them. And what I'd like to ask you for your permission is, once we've wowed you, once we've delivered the result and you're thrilled with our service, would it be okay to ask you for referrals at a later date? Everybody's going to say yes, because you're not putting them on the spot. You're basically saying, I'm going to do a great job and you're going to be thrilled with the service that we provide, right? But in planting those seeds and setting the stage, sometimes you'll find people will give you referrals right on the spot, because now that you mention it, I've got a client that would absolutely benefit from your services, right? Because you're having the conversation. But that's stage 1, is setting the stage. And then once you've done that, you start serving the client. Now you want to be listening for the referral triggers. You want to hear them actually say, wow, or thank you, or man, this is amazing. I love it. You've helped me make so much money, save so much time. I look great, feel great. Whatever it is that you develop and deliver as a result, that's what you're listening for. And then once you hear that, you've heard the referral trigger, then you say, I'm so glad to hear that. I love helping people like you get this result. And remember, early on, I told you we were going to deliver a great result. Well, I'd love to help more people. Do you have any clients, customers, family, friends, whatever is appropriate in that situation that we could help just like we helped you? When you follow that process, you'll be amazed that people will be thrilled to give you referrals, and it'll usually happen faster than you thought. And now think about other businesses that you serve, right? Some of those offer B2B services. And you might want to say, listen, to help your business grow, I'm willing to include a complimentary consultation with the clients that you're attracting. Now you can bundle that in, or they can bundle in your service as part of their value offering, right? So now they're taking a team approach to delivering the service that they get paid for, and they're really filling your funnel at the same time. You're adding value to them, you're adding value to the client, and it is win, 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 win.
Yeah, and that could be said for a CPA or for a lawyer, vice versa. Because if I sign a client and I say, hey, you get a complimentary half-hour session with an attorney that usually charges $500 an hour, and you can ask him anything. And that's part of this. I think that has a phenomenal value proposition. So what you've just done, Brandon, you've helped me and hopefully the audience as well to just throw out ideas that hopefully make everybody think on nobody operates well in a vacuum. We are all connected. So if we take this idea and we really think about this from a partnership perspective of how do I make this really valuable for the people that we're serving, there's so many ideas, and we already came up. I mean, I already feel like I won in this interview myself.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. That's my commitment. I do these podcasts just to share ideas. I'm not looking for anything from it other than to give. When you seek to serve first, you'll be amazed at the magic that happens, and it happens all the time. But when you're talking about partnerships, really put yourself in that position of how can I add as much value to this person or this company as possible? And when you do that, they will reciprocate all the time.
I love that. So where do we get the referral book, the full version and the short version? And then I also want you to tell us a little bit about your project, thehoa.com, for anybody who might be listening says that might be interesting for me to hear about.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, you can find my book at Amazon or at ravingreferrals.com, and you can check me out at brandonbarnum.com, and there's a link to the book there too. And what we're doing at HOA.com is we're really on a mission to revolutionize the whole homeowner association ecosystem. Most people don't realize there's 370,000 HOAs in the U.S. alone, and 53% of all homeowners live in an HOA, but most people don't love their HOA. So we're on a mission to change that. And what's super cool about what we're doing is we're not only a technology platform, we're also a network of professionals who serve homeowners, and we do live events within the communities to create impact and connection. So, sometimes we'll do ice cream socials or community barbecues or, community cleanup events, and they're hosted by the local homeowners and the pros that are in that area. And that's what we just have massive passion for, because we think everyone should live in a connected community and actually know your neighbors again. What would that be like?
I absolutely love that. Brandon, I'm glad that we got to reconnect, and I wish you the best of luck with your new venture. And for everybody on the podcast, please go ahead and check this out. Brandon, you've been a pleasure to have on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, the pleasure's been mine. Thank you so much.
And that is it for us today. And this is your host, Beate Chelette. And until next time, and goodbye.
Thank you for listening to or watching the show. We are so excited that you're here, and we are very grateful for you. Now it's our turn to ask you for help. Please do share this episode with one other person that needs to hear what we were talking about today. If there's any question you have about business, please do reach out to us and let us know. And don't forget to schedule your complimentary uncovery session at uncoverysession.com, where one of our business growth advisors will help you to figure out what your number one business growth blocker is in only 15 minutes. And that's it for us today. Until next time.